Never Fear Breast Cancer Again. This is the official launch for my podcast, Never Fear Breast Cancer Again. I am Dr. Veronique Desaulniers, better known as Dr. V, and founder of the 7 Essential System and BreastCancerConqueror.com. I'm really excited that you're here today, but remember that if you're hearing this information, it's for educational purposes only, and make sure that you check with your primary care physician if you have any health concerns about your body and your health. Now, I'm going to cover 3 different things today. So the first thing I'm going to cover is my journey and how I ended up being the breast cancer conqueror. Secondly, I'm going to take a deep dive, or not really a deep dive, but I'm going to give you an overview of the 7 Essential System so that you never have to fear breast cancer again. And thirdly, at the end of the podcast, I'm going to share a bit of tapping with you. So for those of you who may not be familiar with EFT or tapping, we're going to do a bit of tapping to be able to reinforce some of the issues that perhaps that you're facing, and to really give you some clarity and to empower you so you can get grounded and not have as much fear. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see here. Share my screen. So we're going to talk about never fearing breast cancer again. And that's a bit daunting because when you look at the statistics, 3.1 million women in the US alone are either on a breast cancer healing journey or have dealt with breast cancer in the past. Over 325,000 women will be diagnosed this year. And sadly, over 41,000 women will die as a result of breast cancer. When you first receive that diagnosis, it certainly comes as a shock. So why do I tell you not to fear breast cancer ever again? Because the paradigm is when you discover you have breast cancer, you're going to have a horrible year, 2 years, 3 years, a torturous life that will eventually lead to an untimely death. Well, I'm here to tell you that it does not have to be that way. And I'm here to empower you so that you can stare breast cancer in the face and not be so fearful with everything that you've been told. So how did I end up being the breast cancer conqueror? Well, my journey began way back when I was first in chiropractic college, and I had a passion to bring wellness to the world. And my first encounter with cancer came with my father's diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. I'd been in practice for 3 years, and I knew that the body had an amazing ability to heal. But the traditional doctors gave my father no hope and told him he would be dead in 6 weeks. And unfortunately, he did. He did pass away within those 6 weeks. But I knew in my heart of hearts that there was something that could have been done for him. So I threw myself into research. 1983, no internet back then. I went to the library, started doing research, called a few cancer clinics, which were few and far between back then. And I realized that there was something that could have been done for my father. You know, that pit in your stomach that you just know that something was not right. So I took that fire in my soul and then started applying it to my practice. And I started seeing amazing results with my patients. And it was not me doing the work, but it was them applying the principles of natural healing. Now, fast forward 10 years, and my mother's diagnosed with breast cancer, and she chose to do a lumpectomy and have radiation, but she did not want to do chemo. So she flew down to Georgia to see her daughter, Dr. V, and followed my anti-cancer protocol at the time, and she never had an issue with cancer again. But my journey began after I'd been in practice for 25 years in 2004. And it was one of those gut-wrenching moments. I was in the shower getting ready to head to work. I did a self-breast exam and bam, felt that lump that changed my life forever, personally and professionally. How could Dr. V, how could I develop breast cancer? I thought I was doing everything right. And here I was faced with this lump in my left breast that was not a healthy lump. I knew that I had missed some pieces of the puzzle, and that really threw me down the rabbit hole of soul searching and really trying to understand what is the cause, the root cause behind development of cancer, whether it's breast cancer or any other type of cancer. And that's what led me to the development of what I call the 7 Essentials. It's a step-by-step guide that if you follow, it removes the confusion and the overwhelm with all the information out there. I mean, I felt overwhelmed and I felt fearful at times as I was going through my healing journey. And so if I felt that way with my 25 years of professional experience, how much more so would the average person feel that way? And I didn't want anybody to feel that way. So that's what led me to create the 7 Essential System. And this is what we're going to talk about today, each of these essentials and how you can apply them in your life. Once I created the 7 Essential System and I started sharing my healing journey online, back 6 years ago, so 2012, my team and I have now had the privilege of coaching women in 39 countries. And I never in my wildest dream imagined that we would have that big of a reach. I've also had the privilege of writing a book called Heal Breast Cancer Naturally. And it became a #1 bestseller on Amazon in 9 different categories, including oncology nursing. So that tells me that there's a lot of hope and curiosity there. So let's talk about each of the essentials. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on each of them. We could spend a whole hour or a whole day on each of these essentials, but I'm going to hit a few highlights. So essential #1 is to let food be your medicine. And obviously we now know how powerful food is, but it comes down to this. You either feed your body or you feed the cancer. It can be that simple when it comes to your diet and making those choices. But if there's one thing that I would tell you to avoid, it would be sugar, because we know that cancer cells use sugar to breathe, as it were, or to create metabolic pathways. And so if we can eliminate sugar from our diet, it's one of those things that can really have a big impact. And how do we know that sugar has such an impact on cancer cells? Well, if you know anybody who's had a PET scan, or perhaps you've had one yourself, you get injected with radioactive glucose, and you run through the tube, the scanner, and what lights up first? The cancer cells. So that tells me, and that should tell you, that when it comes to sugar, cancer cells get fed first. So make sure that you eliminate sugar from your diet. And really, there is no one-size-fits-all diet. If somebody tells you there's only one way to eat, run the other way, because trust me, I've tried them all, I've experimented with them all, and it comes down to what works best for you, for your body type, for the type of cancer that you have, and your blood sugar, your blood labs. You have to look at the big picture. So there's no one size fits all. But if there's something that you can do to benefit your journey, would be fasting and intermittent fasting. We know that fasting will help decrease insulin resistance. It also decreases inflammation. It improves your immune system. It causes unhealthy cells to die and to be recycled. And we know that if women fast before doing chemotherapy, for example, there's increased tumor shrinkage and there are fewer side effects. And this is according to Scientific American. So it's a study that was done. And if there's one food that you should focus on, especially when it comes to prevention and reversing cancer, breast cancer, are cruciferous vegetables. And why am I so strong on that? Because we know that cruciferous vegetables really help to optimize phase 2 liver detoxification, and they turn on many protective genes and turn off cancer promoting genes. But the best one to have when it comes to cruciferous is really broccoli sprouts. Now, I have a product in my store called Brocco Power, and I love it, and I take it every day. I take several capsules a day because one capsule of Broccoli Power contains 2 cups of broccoli sprouts. Now, how many of us are going to eat 2, 4, 6, 8 cups of broccoli sprouts? None of us. So if you'd like more information about essential number 1 and how to prepare very healthy food, head to my website, breastcancerconqueror.com, and delectable dishes, the recipes. Let food be your medicine. Essential number 2 is to reduce your toxic exposure. Now, we know we live in a very toxic world and we can't live in a bubble, but there are things that you can do to reduce your toxic exposure. And if you look at toxicity in a big picture, first of all, you look at the environmental aspects, then we look at electropollution, then you look inside your home, then you look at what you put on your skin, and then you look at what's in your body as far as toxicity. And when it comes to breast cancer, the biggest chemical and most important chemical that you need to be aware of is something called xenoestrogen, or a chemical estrogen. So environmentally speaking, pesticides, plastics, industrial chemicals like dioxins, drugs, this estrogenic drugs in the water supply, all these things can add to your estrogen burden and increase your risk of breast cancer. There's also something called xenometallogens, or metals, toxic metals that stimulate estrogen production in the body. Now, I'll get into this in just a minute, but the metals in your teeth, the mercury is known as a metalloestrogen. Electropollution is a huge problem. It's the most toxic pollutant on the planet. We don't see it, we don't feel it, we don't taste it, but it's affecting us 24/7. The good news is that you can learn to protect yourself by doing simple things. Turn off your Wi-Fi at night. Hardwire your router. Don't put your laptop on your body. There's technology that you can wear and that you can put on your appliances to reduce the effect of EMF on your body. Apart from electropollution, when we move inside the home, we see there's a lot of indoor pollutants. There's the artificial sprays, the candles, the cookware, the pesticides, all the cleaning agents that we use. So make sure that you clear those out and replace them with more natural substances. Anything you put on your skin is going to be absorbed into your body. The average person uses a tablespoon of lotion every day, and that equals to 7 gallons of toxic goo after a few years. And the average person is also exposed to 167 chemicals per day just from the beauty care products that they use. So really become aware of what you put on your skin. And remember, I was talking to you about metalloestrogens. Well, look at your antiperspirant. If it has aluminum in it, guess what? Aluminum is a metalloestrogen. It mimics and stimulates estrogen production in the body. And then lastly, there's the internal toxins. Waste products in your body can increase your toxic load if you're not removing them properly. And there are many ways to detoxify your body. One of my favorite is coffee enemas. Here's a picture of my bucket at home, and I also use this gold coffee, which really helps to stimulate the liver and increase glutathione production. Glutathione is your cellular detoxification process, so very important to increase that. And for those of you who don't necessarily want to do enemas, or you want to take a gentler approach to cleansing, there's a liver cleanse product, we have a yeast cleanse, we also have a parasite cleanse, which is pretty awesome. So make conscious decisions of what you have in your environment and what you put in your body and what you put on your body. So that's essential number 2. Let's move on to essential number 3, balance your energy. We know that we're only 1 billionth physical matter. The rest of us is all energy. So how do you balance that energy? Chiropractic. Of course, for those of you who may not know, I am a chiropractor by profession. I've been a chiropractor since 1979, and I'm very proud of that profession and what it can do for your health. If there is a misalignment in your spine, it can affect how your brain communicates to the rest of your body. And what most people don't realize is that 300 your immune system is 300% stronger if you're under chiropractic care. You also want to balance your nerve system, because if the accelerator of your nerve system is turned on, according to the study done in Nature magazine, it's going to rev up and drive cancer by causing poor DNA repair, keeping cancer-causing genes turned on, and increased blood flow to tumors. So you want to make sure that your nerve system is properly balanced. Another tool to balance your energy is acupuncture. Expose your body to sunlight every day if possible. And of course, we know that when our hormones are out of balance, we're out of balance. So balancing your hormones is an important part of essential number 3. But I do want to tell you that your hormones do not cause cancer. I know that traditional medicine has created a fear in women about their hormones and shutting them down with toxic medication. But try to reason on this. If your hormones cause cancer, then every 20-year-old on the planet would have cancer. So it's not your hormones that are driving the cancer, but it's all the chemical estrogens that you're exposed to that I discussed. And also, if you have a problem with improper methylation or metabolism of estrogen, then it can increase the more aggressive estrogens in your body. So it's important to get to the root cause of the estrogen problem in your body. Balancing our energy involves having proper sleep. When we don't sleep properly, guess what? It causes immune system suppression and cancer progression as well. And lastly, when it comes to balancing your energy, exercise is so important. And all you have to do is move your body 30 minutes a day. And it can be burst training, it could be walking, it could be just moving your body in some way. We know, according to studies, that women who exercise have a lower mortality rate than those who don't. So that's essential number 3. Now here we are going to dive into essential number 4, which is healing your emotional wounds. And this is why I'm going to address it at the end of this podcast, because essential number 4 is very difficult. Healing emotional wounds is often the most challenging part of any healing journey. Why? Because we're real good at doing practical physical things, but for women especially, when it comes to taking time to self-nurture and to self-love and take time for ourselves, it's very difficult. We're used to putting everybody else first. If you don't deal with the dirt and the things from the past, you're going to suppress them, and that can lead to depression. And I love this quote by Dr. Lisa Rankin. If you don't grow when life hands you lemons and you don't grow, then guess what? You're going to grow a tumor, because we know that our thoughts have a physical impact on our health. And if there's a lot of internal conflict in your mind and in your heart, then there's less energy available for physical healing. So you have to consciously learn to calm the heart, calm the mind, and really get centered and be clear that you can reverse cancer and that you can create vibrant health in your body. And that's where creating a healing mindset comes in. It's learning to be proactive and positive and not give in to the negative what ifs. It's about your attitude, your disposition, and your intention. You have to move through this journey knowing that there's no doubt in your mind that you're going to come out of this a happier and healthier person. And this is a difficult point for some women to grasp at first, especially if you've just been recently diagnosed. But I love Dr. Carl Simonton. He wrote an amazing book called Getting Well Again. And he says that cancer is really a message of love. And how is that? Because for years and years, your body's been whispering to you and telling you to stop doing the things that bring you pain and to start doing the things that bring you joy. If you keep doing the things you've always done, you're going to get the same results. So you have to look at this journey as a blessing. And as I just said, if you keep doing the things you've always done, you're going to get the same results. A healing journey is about a transformation, not just getting rid of the bump or the lump, but about healing your whole life, every aspect of it. One of the techniques that I'm very fond of that I've used for 15 years is something called EFT, or Emotional Freedom Technique. And I'm going to give you a sample tapping at the end of this presentation. So hang in there, we're almost there. This is another technique that I really like. It's called EVOX, and Vox is Latin for voice. So it's looking at voice recognition, and it's helping your body to neutralize the subconscious stress that may be happening in your body that's driving decisions and driving your body. Essential oils are great for calming the mind, calming the body. Learning to do some fun things. When was the last time you laughed? When was the last time you had fun? You took time to color, to do puzzles, to play in the sand, to lay in the grass. A healing journey is about learning to do things for yourself and to bring joy back into your life. And this quote from Albert Einstein says it all. Imagination is everything. It's the preview of your life's coming attractions. So if you're imagining the negative what ifs, and I'm going to die, and what if this happens, your mind and your body are going to shift to that low energy. Healing is about moving from low energy to high energy and thinking vibrant thoughts, vibrant health, energy, love, joy, gratitude, all those emotions that can really increase your energy. Essential number 4 is looking at biological dentistry. Now, biological dentistry has to do with the understanding that our mouth, our oral health, will have a huge impact on our physical health. And for those of you who may still have silver fillings or amalgams in your mouth, please know that they're 50% mercury, and mercury is the most toxic element on the planet. It's also classified as a metalloestrogen, which means it's going to mimic and stimulate estrogen production in the body, which is very dangerous when it comes to breast cancer. And studies have confirmed that there's an increased risk of breast cancer when there's a lot of mercury in the body, and when they analyze the tumors from women who have breast cancer, they find high levels of heavy metals in those tumors. Part of biological dentistry is understanding what a root canal is. A root canal is a dead tooth, no different than a dead gallbladder or a dead appendix in your body. It's toxic, and no matter how clean the dentist tries to make it, there's always a pocket of toxic bacteria at that root, which is going to suppress your immune system. So from a chemical point of view, amalgams and root canals are something that you should address. And here's living proof. If you know anything about thermography, we oftentimes see women with inflammation in their mouth that relates to the same side of the breast where they're having issues. Your teeth are affected by your acupuncture meridian system. Your teeth are connected to every organ in your body by your acupuncture meridian system. So if there's a root canal or an amalgam or a cavitation, an infection in the bone sitting on a specific meridian in the breast, for example, that can certainly have an impact on your body's ability to heal. And make sure that you search out a biological dentist, one that is prepared to answer your questions and one that has been certified to do the work. Essential number 6 is to repair your body with therapeutic plants and herbs. We know this is the number one question that women come to us for, and we get hundreds and hundreds of emails every month about what nutrients and what products do we recommend for healing the body and for boosting the immune system. Well, it's really an individual thing. We can't say it's a one size fits all again, but know that the products and the things that I mention are evidence-based. If you go to pubmed.org and you put in the search bar breast cancer vitamin C or breast cancer selenium or breast cancer medicinal mushrooms, you'll see hundreds and hundreds of studies, published studies, that come up that show you how effective natural medicine can really be. According to the National Institute of Health, 65% of cancer patients use complementary approaches for immune enhancement. So that tells us that there's definitely more and more awareness. So here's one of those products. I mentioned them before, broccoli sprouts, one of my favorite things. It has a messenger molecule in there called sulforaphane, which activates over 200 genetic switches. And what I love the most is that it kills breast cancer stem cells. Those are the tiny little baby cancer cells that can cause metastasis and cause reoccurrence. So the beauty of broccoli sprouts is that it can kill those baby cancer cells. And there again, there's one of my favorite products, the Brocco Power. 1 capsule is equivalent to 2 cups of broccoli sprouts. Vitamin D is also extremely important. If you keep your vitamin D levels optimal, as you see, 80 to 100 nanograms per ml, you have an 83% decrease of breast cancer risk. And if you already have breast cancer, it can help to inhibit breast cancer cell growth and help to suppress metastasis. So make sure your vitamin D levels are optimal. Iodine is also an absolute must because iodine is used for every cell in your body, but the thyroid and the breast tissue compete for iodine. And it's very important to make sure that you have the proper levels. Don't just guess when it comes to your health. Make sure that you do a 24-hour urine test to see if you're iodine deficient. Interestingly, women on thyroid medication are twice as likely to develop breast cancer than those who are not. Now, why is that? Because synthetic medication is simply covering the symptom. It's not getting to the cause. If your thyroid is sluggish, it could be a number of reasons, but iodine deficiency could be one of them. Excuse me while I drink some mineral water. Magnesium deficiency is also very important. So make sure that you eat foods that are high in magnesium and supplement with magnesium. Agaricus mushrooms is a great way to start boosting your immune system and increasing the natural killer cells. Beta-glucans found in this product, again, it's polysaccharides from medicinal mushrooms, and there's been independent laboratory studies showing the benefits for breast cancer. I'm a big fan of enzyme therapy. Think of enzymes like little Pac-Man that will eat away at the lining or the cell wall of the cancer cell. Cancer cells have a very tough fibrous coating. And so the enzymes are like little Pac-Man that help to weaken that and to make them more vulnerable. So there's a whole process involved in doing high dose enzymes. Melatonin. Melatonin is just not designed to help you sleep, but it's classified as a cytotoxic hormone. What does that mean? That means it can literally kill cancer cells. It's very, very important to make sure that your melatonin levels are optimal. Again, you can test, but melatonin has been proven to be very beneficial for women who have been on a healing journey or for prevention. Apricot kernels and B17. Amygdalin is basically a type of glycoside or a sugar molecule. So what do cancer cells love? They love sugar, so they'll eat up this glycoside, and cancer cells are not equipped with an enzyme that will neutralize the cyanide. Our healthy cells are. So basically it's poison to cancer cells. It's beautiful, selective therapy specifically for cancer. Wormwood has proven to be very beneficial for women on a healing journey. Bloodroot. Bloodroot contains a phytonutrient called sanguinarine, and there's over 200 studies that show how it selectively kills cancer cells and not healthy cells, and actually helps to boost your immune system. This is another one of my favorite products, Halin 951, which is basically fermented soy. Now, soy's had a bad rap, and that's a whole other webinar. But this particular product has been proven to protect your estrogen receptor sites. It lowers circulating estrogens, and it's another one that kills breast cancer stem cells, the baby cancer cells. So one of my favorite and tested products. Poly-MBA, very powerful antioxidant that helps to support the mitochondria. We know that cancer is a metabolic disease and the mitochondria are affected. So if you can support healthy mitochondrial pathways, you get more healthy cells and weaker cancer cells. Vitamin C, I'm sure you've heard of people getting vitamin C IVs. Again, another proven therapy. Essential oils, to use aromatically by diffusing, to use topically, and some of them you can take internally. But again, make sure that you check with your primary care physician. Now, flax seeds, it's in this list of therapeutic plants and herbs because it's a very, very powerful anti-metastatic plant estrogen. Plant estrogens are good for you. Don't listen to people who may be telling you that, oh no, you have to stay away from plant estrogens. It's food and it's designed to protect and to nourish your body. There was a study done at the University of Toronto a few years back where they fed women one muffin with 5 teaspoons of ground flaxseed in the muffin. And they fed them that for 30 days. And these women were getting ready for surgery. They all had breast cancer. After 30 days, they saw a decrease in tumor size and tumor markers anywhere from 35 to 73%, just by incorporating ground flax seeds in their diet every day. That's powerful medicine. Matcha tea, I'm drinking some right now. Matcha green tea, I love it. It's 10 times more potent than just a regular cup of green tea because it has over 100 times more of the EGCG, which helps to suppress breast cancer cells and actually induce apoptosis or kill those nasty little cells. We've heard more and more about medical marijuana, CBD, and THC. A wonderful website to go to get information is called United Patients Group. You see it on the screen here. They specialize on medicinal CBD and THC. Hyperthermia and heat shock proteins. Studies in Japan have shown that 100% of cancer patients have a lower basal body temperature, which suppresses your immune system. We know that bacteria, viruses, cancer cells are very sensitive to heat, so it makes sense to heat up your body through sauna, through specific hyperthermia techniques, biomat. All these things will help to weaken the unhealthy cells and increase your natural killer cells. Lastly, essential number 7 is to adopt very early detection. Now, why do I have essential number 7 right at the end about very early detection? Because as you're going through your healing journey, it's important to monitor. And some of the things I'm going to talk about is about monitoring. But first, I want to address the mammogram myth. And I'm not telling you not to get a mammogram. And I know that some women have discovered lumps through mammograms. I get that. However, there are many risks involved with mammography, and more information is coming out on that. According to a 25-year Canadian study with over 90,000 women, they concluded that mammography did not reduce breast cancer mortality rate, not even by 1%, and it was found to be just as effective as a self-breast exam. So when you think about mammograms, make an informed decision, because we know, according to the British Journal of Radiology, low energy X-ray radiation will increase your risk of breast cancer. It comes to no surprise that women who are getting their breasts radiated sometimes every 3 months to look at suspicious issues in their breasts end up having breast cancer. Radiation causes cancer, people. So if you want to use mammography, use it wisely and not necessarily repetitively all the time, because it can be a dangerous therapy, or diagnostic tool rather. For those of you who know me, you know that I'm a big fan of thermographic imaging. Why? Because it reads the infrared heat coming off your body. It's non-invasive, there's no pain, there's no radiation, and it can help detect changes, physiological changes, only when there's a few hundred cells, compared to by the time it's in the billions with a mammogram. It takes 5 to 10 years for a lump to appear on a mammogram. So wouldn't you want 5 to 10 years of early notice before you actually find a lump? So thermography is about 97% accurate. Yes, nothing is 100%, but it's a good tool to keep in your pocket to be able to look at your body in a different light. Now we're going to talk about blood markers. There are specific tests that you can look at to really keep a pulse on your health for detection and for maintenance. The RGCC test, also known as the grease test, is a great test, and what it does is it measures the circulating tumor cells, and it also will test for specific substances, both chemotherapy agents as well as natural extracts, to see what's most effective against your particular cancer. There's also another blood test called the Cancer Profile, done by American Metabolics. They look at the hormones such as HCG, PHI, and DHEA. All these hormones put together can give us a picture as to the activity that may be going on in the body. Nagalase. Nagalase is an enzyme that's secreted by cancer cells only. It can also be seen when there's a high viral load. So it's another tool that you can look at to measure the activity of cancer in the body. Checking your inflammatory markers. We know that inflammation is the root cause and foundation of all disease. So if you check your inflammatory markers, such as C-reactive protein or homocysteine, it's a methylation marker to see if you're breaking things down properly. That can alert you to inflammation that's going on in your body. And also ask your primary care physician to run these tests on you, because there's always a low-grade infection that's going on with the appearance of cancer. Whether it's a viral infection, a bacterial, Lyme's disease, parasites, yeast, whatever. But get tested so you can see what may be compromising your immune system. Genetic testing is also very important. Many people use 23andMe. I'm not necessarily a fan of that test, but there's more and more labs that are popping up so that you can understand your genetic variants. It gives you an idea of where your genetic weaknesses are, so you can take preventative action and really support those particular areas of potential weakness. So in the end, does the 7 essential system work? Well, I'm just going to show you one slide here. Here's a woman who definitely had evidence of a lot of cancer. She was officially diagnosed also with biopsy. And after following the 7 essential system, you can see that the inflammation is gone. There's no blood flow or angiogenesis, and she has very cool, healthy breasts. So if you'd like to learn more about our success stories, just head to the website, breastcancerconqueror.com, and you will be able to see what's going on there. All right, so live on Facebook. So I'm trying to see. Okay, so for some reason, I'm not able to see everybody's comments. Sorry about that. I'm learning about this. So lastly, I said that I would end up with some tapping. So for those of you who are not aware, EFT, or emotional freedom technique, has to do with tapping specific acupuncture points on the face and the hands and on the body to help calm down the stress response. Now, we know that cancer is definitely stressful. We know that we live in a world that is definitely stressful. So imagine you're being chased by a saber-toothed tiger or a lion, and you're running for your life. What happens to your body? Well, you're getting all these stress hormones, and your digestion stops, and the blood goes to your extremities, your adrenals are pumping. If I were to run beside you while you're being chased by that tiger, and I'd say, okay, slow down, remember to think happy thoughts and make sure you heal your body, it'd be impossible. So that's why we have to learn to take our foot off the accelerator and learn to calm the body down. EFT is phenomenal for doing that, because proven studies and through MRI scans of the brain, as well as different blood tests, has shown that it can turn on sometimes hundreds of protective genes, And it can slow down that little almond-shaped part of your brain called the amygdala, which is the fight or flight section of your brain. So it can help calm that down. And the points that you're tapping are literally stimulating these acupuncture points so that the body can slow down. And you're also giving your fears and negative emotions a voice. I love the quote by Louise Hay that says, if you're going to clean your house, you have to look at the dirt first, right? So if you're going to heal your body and your emotions, you have to let some of these things surface. And with tapping, you address initially the negative emotions. You give them a voice and tell them it's okay to be seen and heard. And then we tap through the positive. So we're just going to do a very basic grounding EFT exercise. I'm going to create more and more videos specifically for breast cancer. But for today's purpose, we're just going to do a very basic one. So you're going to start tapping on the karate chop point right here. And you're going to repeat after me. So even though I've been diagnosed with breast cancer, I can totally and completely honor and love myself. Even though I'm facing a healing journey and I may be really frightened and confused, I can totally and completely honor and love myself. Repeat again and make sure you take some deep breaths. Even though I'm dealing with an issue, a health issue, whatever that may be, whether I'm trying to prevent or whether I'm trying to reverse this issue in my body, I'm feeling confused and frustrated, but I can totally and completely honor and love myself. So we're going to start tapping on the points. You can use one hand or you can use two hands. I like to use two hands. So inside the eye, this issue that I'm dealing with, side of the eye, it really has me frazzled. Under the eye, I really have some negative what ifs that pop up into my mind. Under the nose, what if those things my doctor says come true? On the chin, what if I'm one of those statistics? On the collarbone, this is a really scary part of my life. You can tap underneath your arm about 4 inches under your armpit. This feeling of overwhelm, top of the head. There's so much information out there. Where do I start? Inside the eye. All this information and all this frustration. Side of the eye. I'm so confused. There's so much information out there. Under the eye. I'm overwhelmed. How do I do it all? Where do I start? Under the nose. I really don't know where to start and what to do. On the chin. This feeling of frustration and confusion. All the stress and all these emotions. Under the arm. Sometimes I wake up at 3 in the morning and I have some really negative thoughts. Top of the head. But those thoughts are just thoughts. Inside the eye. Those thoughts can be changed. Worrying about my condition is not going to improve things. Under the eye. In fact, worrying can actually suppress my immune system. Under the nose. So I'm going to possibly be open to change. On the chin. I may choose to look at a different way of looking at this. On the collarbone. I'm going to open up my heart and learn to calm my mind. Under the arm. Because I get to choose what I think about. Top of the head. I choose loving and healing thoughts. Even though it's not always easy. side of the eye, I choose to think loving, healthy thoughts. I see myself creating vibrant health. Under the nose, I know that my body has an amazing ability to heal. On the chin. And if I apply myself and follow through with what I've learned today, if I apply the 7 essentials about food and detoxification, balancing my energy and my hormones, I take time to heal my emotional wounds, I check with a biological dentist and see what's going on in my mouth, I learn about specific supplements and herbs that can improve my health. And lastly, I keep a pulse on my health. I don't just guess when it comes to my health, but I measure and test to make sure that I'm moving in the right direction. If I apply all these wonderful things, then I know I have a chance. I know I can be a conqueror. I know my body has the ability to heal. And I know that I will come out victorious on the other side. So take a deep breath. All right, let me see if I can find out what's going on here. I don't see Facebook anywhere, so I'm sorry I don't see all your questions and comments, but I will make sure that I answer them on the Facebook fan page. Please share this information with your friends and family. Unfortunately, more and more people are being diagnosed with cancer. The 7 essentials that I discussed today apply not only to breast cancer, but any other type of dis-ease or cancer in the body. It's all the same root cause. So this is Dr. V sending you a big healing hug, and thank you for joining me today. Bye-bye.